My name is James Cunningham. I'm the Director for the Centre for Innovation and Structural Change, one of the organisations that's been involved in organising this event. The centre here, I suppose, has been around since 2002, and I suppose our focus is very much looking at multidisciplinary insights to innovative change. So really to understand innovation at a macro level, policy level, looking at it in terms of how it happens at firm and also at individual levels. And I suppose, you look at it in terms of the next sort of maybe 3 to 4 weeks, we're expecting the Innovation Task Force to report in terms of what is the future direction for innovation policy in Ireland. And I suppose maybe the strong focus has been maybe on the science and technology side and the investments and recouping the investments there. But also I suppose maybe that could get lost in terms of the whole sort of task force is in terms of the whole creative side. And I suppose in Ireland we're facing some significant challenges around the whole innovation agenda. The whole nature, I suppose, of innovation is changing, where organisations are looking for greater levels of experimentation, new models of business models, new ways of doing innovation, and I suppose innovation is becoming more of a global phenomenon. And you look at it in terms of sort of from a creative industry side, I suppose the most, I would argue maybe to some degree, maybe somebody would be very critical of it, but really the big global brands have come from the creative industry side of our economy. You look at U2, you look at some of our well-known authors and writers internationally. And in some senses, they have given a cachet around sort of Ireland, or creativity, about sort of who we are in terms of Irish people. And I suppose the policy challenge that I would see from innovation is, what is our national ambition? The focus has been very much in terms of the science and technology side. But for innovation to happen and pervade all aspects of society in terms of both public, private, all of its industries, is that it's broadening and deepening the innovation capacity among individuals. So how does policy impact to ensure that people are more creative, that they're enabled to have more creativity in terms of what they do? What is interesting, I suppose, about the Creative West report just launched earlier on this year, which my colleague Professor Willie Golden was involved in as the former director of CISC, it first time really articulates from an economic point of view what is the actual contribution of creative industries, in order to articulate a more stronger sort of business case for its ongoing support and also the very really needs to in terms of further development. But also it looks at how the sector contributes to the economy, its potential, and really the need for maybe a top-down as well as a bottom-up approach to actually pushing on and building on in terms of the creative sector within this region. I suppose one of the sort of things that really struck me in terms of the report was the need to transfer creative capabilities into wider business. So in some senses, is there things that are happening in the creative industries that that are transferable into science and technology, into other parts of business and society? I suppose within the centre here, I suppose one of our ambitions is to grow our research in this creative industries under leadership of Dr. Pat Collins. And really to play our role in terms of understanding the dynamics of our creative capabilities, and also in terms of in the creative sector, but also transferability out abroad in terms of other sectors. And also I would see in terms of CISC, participating very, very strongly in terms of the ongoing sort of dialogue as an event here we have. So what I would finally want to sort of say before I sort of hand you over to Lisa McAllister is, I suppose, the importance I would see in terms of creative industry. If you look at sort of Galway, is that we're very strong in terms of medical devices, ICT, and what is, I suppose, is unknown and maybe untalked about really is the strong creative industries that are maybe world-class and very, very niche markets that we don't maybe take the due recognition for in terms of their success. But there's a lot to be done in terms of sharing practice, understanding in terms of learning from other industries and other sectors, in terms of how creativity and innovation becomes a lived daily reality for businesses and for people living in the west of Ireland. And I really would like to thank the WDC for their partnership in terms of running this event. I think we've had a number of engagements over the last number of years, and this is a part of this ongoing engagement. And from my own particular perspective, I would like to thank Angela Sykes and Valerie Parker in CISC for all their work behind the scenes. And also, I suppose I would now like to hand you over to Lisa McAllister, the CEO of Western Development, to say a few words of introduction. So thanks very much.
Thank you, James, for the introduction to this afternoon's seminar. And good morning to you all. Lisa McAllister is my name. I'm the Chief Executive of the Western Development Commission. We are a regional development agency creating strategies for the progress of the Western region. We promote the region, the Western region, as a place to live, work, invest, and some of you are familiar with our Look West initiative. I hope you are, and if you're not, check out lookwest.ie. We invest in the region. We have a venture capital fund called the WDC Investment Fund, and we have investments in about 80 projects throughout the world, mostly venture capital. We encourage investment through our policy work, and we have a team at the Western Development Commission who engage in a whole series of policy developments which affect the development of the Western region. And we develop detailed growth strategies in sectors which are relevant to the Western region. And that brings us to today. We are delighted to organise the seminar here with the Centre for Innovation and Structural Change at NUIG. Earlier this year, we published Creative West, where we set out the contribution that the creative sector makes to the economy of the Western region. We made a series of recommendations in that report, and if you're not familiar with it, there are copies outside. And it is our motivation to develop those recommendations and to contribute to the development of a national strategy. And we hope in doing that it will meet the needs of the creative sector so that we can grow that as a sector in our Western region. But we will hear more of that from my colleague Pauline White when she's to discuss it in a later session. We're going to move straight into our first session, and it is entitled Competitiveness and Creativity, Evidence from the UK's Regions. Our keynote address is by Professor Robert Huggins from the Cardiff School of Management, University of Wales Institute, and Director for Centre of International Competitiveness. Robert is the co-founder of the World Knowledge Competitiveness Index and is the founder of the European and the UK Competitiveness Index. His key areas of research include the study of competitiveness, business networks, knowledge-based economic development, and entrepreneurship. He is an economic development specialist of international standing, and he acts as a policy advisor and consultant to a range of organisations. Robert is committed to furthering research that informs corporate strategy and public policy, and especially practical actions aimed at improving the competitiveness of small businesses and the regions in which they are located. I want to welcome Robert to today's seminar.